Welcome everyone to Satoshi Chats, episode 13. My name is Jack.
And my name is Casey.
Quick little price update. We're actually at 46,700 right now. Took a little bit of a dip. We've all-time high right now is about 49,000. Very close to 50, and I'm sure this number is quite different from the last time we've had a chat, so it should be interesting.
Yeah, I think last time we had a chat, it was like 37 or 36, and it had like touched 40 or 41, but it really took off pretty quick, huh? Like to 47 and all that. It was
Right.
just it blew right through 41. I mean, 45 doesn't seem to be a bit important at all. So uh, I think it's at this point, I feel like numerical, things like 50,000, it's all kind of just in our heads, and the market can really move in any direction at any time, just based on the order size that's going to come in. So depending on the like who's going to make the big order, as soon as there's a big enough order, the price is going to just jump. And I feel like certain numbers now are just going to be like nothing. Like 50,000 doesn't have to be a big point, you
Yeah.
know.
What is $50,000? Is it
Yeah,
could be 50,000 bananas.
yeah, exactly. I mean, as far as the actual value of what you're being able to purchase right now with $50,000, that's constantly depreciating. So we don't really even know what that is anymore. So
Right.
it's like,
Um.
yeah,
Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. I was just gonna say it's impossible to tell what that's really worth now.
So, many people might be wondering, why the price shift. Um, and part of that is just because it's existing, which that's what Bitcoin does. It goes up in value, but it's hard to ignore Tesla's $1.5 billion investment, adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet.
Right. I mean,
Um,
it's just another huge, colossal point in Bitcoin's history where this is by far, I think, the most public and large in terms of like public eye and all that company to acquire Bitcoin and announce their support of it. So it's just a humongous step, in terms of
yeah,
publicity and all that.
yeah. Like I mean, MicroStrategy obviously being the first to do it, um, but Tesla is a more respected company in the eyes of the public. So
Yeah,
they're taking it a bit more seriously.
the Tesla fan base is a dedicated fan base, and so I really wonder how people who didn't like BTC before, who really liked Tesla, are dealing and reconciling with that. Like right now, like how do you figure out that the person who you believe, Elon Musk, uh, who you believe is making all the right decisions, how do you think he's going to make the wrong decision with BTC? He's not. He's making the right decision. And I think that's a huge revelation for a lot of people, especially those who were iffy on BTC before. Um, yeah, I know people in my family have very suddenly taken a keen liking to Bitcoin ever since Elon Musk announced his like for it. And it's funny how big names change things very quickly.
Yeah. Um, I saw something on Twitter today that quite wraps this it wraps it together quite nicely. What I'm thinking in my mind. I sent the Twitter link to the hashtag Twitter on the Discord,
Mm-hmm.
so you could probably just pull it up and show people um, what I'm looking at. But essentially, for the audio listeners, it's a pretty much a man in with no clothes on and short shorts on, dancing and having a good time at like a festival. And
If you've learned a lot
basically,
about leadership,
this relates to Bitcoin in a way, but the man, it's pretty funny, isn't
It,
it?
it's humorous. It's humorous.
Have you seen this video before, this meme?
um, no, I don't think so. I think
Because because honestly, it's a very beautiful video, but it's also quite sad at the same time.
I think that's a good commentary on what's going on. You know.
It is, isn't it perfect? So pretty much what it uh, um, is that there's a man. It's a huge crowd in a field, probably at a festival or something,
Yep.
and it's just a man by himself dancing and just and having a good time and just dancing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, um, in this meme, they put MicroStrategy in text over the man, and what I think about this is that um, it's everyone is looking at him as an outsider and questioning why he's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they know he's having a good time, but they're
Right.
just like he's an outsider
Yeah.
until a few more people, just a couple, they approach him and start dancing as well. And in this meme, they have they use those two extra people as Tesla and Square. Um,
Mm-hmm. And
and
it's interesting. I mean, it's hilarious. If you want to think about it, it's all a meme, right? The meme that you sent me is a meme, and the people dancing in the meme are a meme, right? Like the one person dancing starts the meme of dancing, and then several people join in because it becomes a meme amongst
right,
that society that's happening right there. And the meme you sent me is a meme, and then the fact that Bitcoin is catching on is a meme, right? Like Tesla buying Bitcoin is mimetic in its own right. Like it's happening because other people are doing it. That's like kind of the basis of memes, I guess you could say. And like, I think it's hilarious how that all loops together. Like, uh, Bitcoin
right.
itself can just be explained as like this massive meme, and it's so elegantly described by memes, which is the hilarious thing.
Yeah, something I was gonna add was that in the video there's audio. I think there's like a voiceover or something.
Uh huh.
But once a couple people join him dancing, they it's officially stated as, oh, it's acceptable. It's
Right.
it's he's not an outsider. And then eventually, I don't know if you saw the whole video, but more and more people start dancing in this huge crowd. And at the end, the guy says something like, "Now you're an outsider if you're not dancing."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think it's very interesting because not only is it's the complete opposite once it becomes mainstream. So
Yep.
you're an outsider for dancing, but then once everyone starts agreeing with you, you're an outsider if you don't do it, which is I think is perfectly explaining Bitcoin.
Right.
Like because like once there's like we haven't gotten to the point yet, but after the three people approach him, uh, there starts to become tens of like groups of 10 people start to
Yeah.
approach and stuff,
Yeah.
and that also relates to how quickly it will go in terms of institutional investors.
Uh
It's
huh.
going to be it's a good point of how it's going to work because right now we have MicroStrategy, we have Square, we have Tesla, and these are big events that happen, at least in the Bitcoin space.
Uh huh.
These are major events, but at one point someone's going to invest $1 billion in Bitcoin and no one's going to even talk about it
Yeah.
because it's just going to be
Totally.
normal.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is that Tesla in the video too. Tesla was like the last person to join the dancing, and then after that, it was groups of people, and that's how it's
Yeah,
gonna be. Tesla's the last person joining this lone group of dancers, and now it's a party, and this party is starting out at $50,000, right, folks? And that's like, what is that market cap? It's got to be near 800 trillion or something like that, right? Or not trillion, billion.
50,000. I think it's about 950 billion, something
950
around there.
billion. All right. So yeah, we're starting right near a trillion market cap, and it's like this is our party starting point, and once it looks like everyone else on the outside who's not dancing are the outsiders, that's when Bitcoin is hyper Bitcoinization. You know, that's when we've experienced that, and it will simply be economically inviable to remain outside of that dancing circle. All the companies who don't proceed to dance will die, you know, and that's just going to be the way it is as long as the inflation of the fiat currencies continues, which it most certainly will with all the stimulus that's needed right now, and with all the companies looking to avoid that impact on their store value. It's just a big party waiting to happen, you know. And
Yeah.
$50,000, it won't take much to push that into six-figure territory. You know, it won't take much to push that into 500,000 plus territory. You know, it's, you know, there's a lot of money floating out there. It's not like the market cap has to stop at 1 trillion, and it certainly won't, you know. It's growing faster than anything else. So
It's pretty much just the same when Bitcoin passed 1 billion. It's just another number. It's just,
right. Yeah, it really think about that. Like at a billion, people were like, "Wow, this is the point where Bitcoin takes off," and they were right too. They were totally right too, because look at us now. We're at 1 trillion. I mean, anyone who was around when it was 1 billion, I'm sure. I'm not that old. I'm not that old enough in the game, unfortunately. But anyone who was around at that time, I'm sure they never thought 1 trillion would have been. I'm sure it was a very few people who thought 1 trillion was a possibility, and who can blame them? I mean, 1 billion in itself was just a crazy number, and 1 trillion in itself is a crazy number, and anything beyond it is going to be crazy. I think everyone is. I mean, obviously Bitcoiners are quite excited, but outside of Bitcoiners, I think everyone's so like, oh, Bitcoin's only 50,000. I think if they really understood what that meant and what kind of like exponential gains have already happened, I think it would change people's perspective on what it is, you know?
yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, I think as far as like the actual pace that we're going with Tesla and all the new technologies coming out, I mean, I remember in 2017 when everything was going crazy and you were talking to me about it, Coinbase was really like the only place buying and selling Bitcoin on like retail level at that time for like American users like me. And it was just like not like there were no like good wallets just sitting around that you could just easily access it on your phone and stuff like that. Like there's no, I mean, it was just not on the level it is now, you know. It's not
Yeah.
on the access level, and it wasn't written about. There wasn't a Bitcoin standard. I mean, maybe there was, but I don't think a Bitcoin standard had been written yet, and I don't think a lot of the articles and literature which I've read over time even existed at that time. And so I think it's just a totally different ball game now. You know, 1 trillion is a big number compared to 1 billion, and I think obviously that like kind of adds just to the snowball effect, I guess, right?
Yeah. Going back to large institutions. Let's just take Google, Facebook, Apple.
Yeah.
All these major companies. You would expect their CFO to be quite smart. At least that's what I would hope.
Right. I
That
think
the
they get paid for that,
CFO,
right?
yeah, I would hope that the CFO of a very large, of $1 trillion company, publicly traded company, would be quite smart with managing the company's assets.
Hmm.
And it's almost ridiculous now at this point how most of them haven't even touched Bitcoin.
Yeah, like if I was a shareholder or like a someone who was forced to have a stake in this company, like I'm the son of the founder of a company, and I know I'm going to inherit the company, so I have an interest in the preservation of that company's wealth. I would be begging them to buy Bitcoin, begging, because
Right.
it if you understand this, it's just oh, it's just leaking your value away. Like, uh, asset inflation is a real thing, and like, what are you gonna do with your money other than put it in something that protects it from the inflation that's currently going on as a result of the strain on the economy? Like, it's just so simple, and you can choose what to park that money in right now. And if you've chosen to park it in Bitcoin in the last year, you've made, like, what is it, like 300, 400%, something crazy, like, it's just
Yeah.
makes no
I
sense.
just I just had an interesting thought. I was listening to a what podcast? I'll plug them really quick. It was the Peter McCormick uh, podcast
Oh yeah.
with American Hodl and uh, Preston
Preston Psych or whatever.
Preston Syke, yeah. And I think it was American Hodl that said like this is very interesting. So Tesla is is well, first let me say that uh, there's no there's no avoiding Bitcoin. If you don't own it, it's still going to affect you. And something very interesting that he said that I didn't even realize is that Tesla is on the S&P 500 and Tesla owns Bitcoin. So if you have any shares related to the S&P 500, you have a percentage in Bitcoin.
Yep. Yeah, I guess that's true. It depends on, yeah, and especially if you own Tesla directly.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people own Tesla just the straight out share. And now you have a huge allocation of Bitcoin relative
But that
to
means any shiller or any haters
no
of
coiners.
yeah, any no coiners, um, like they literally don't have a choice.
Yep.
Like, they want to invest in the S&P 500. Sorry, the companies have Bitcoin, so you're just gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah, seriously. And it's like, yeah, if you want to, if you want to really experience the gainage, you'd get in on Bitcoin yourself.
Right.
It's like, it's the people who are against Bitcoin at this point. I think they see it as a bubble, and while it's almost understandable to why they have that view because of, like, I guess, past price performance, like the way that 2017 acted, I think if they look at other metrics like number of coins on exchanges and number of coins available and number of coins
Or
being
just look at
mined.
it on a logarithmic scale, really.
Right, yeah, like there's just so many other perspectives other than just saying, oh, it's this high price that it's never been before. If you look at other perspectives which are mathematically deduced, like, you can totally see why this isn't a bubble. It's simply rising, and it's not even begun really. It's parabolic version of rising yet. It's this whole price action is like how it went from, whatever thousand to whatever thousand when it went to 20,000, like it wasn't that big of a jump before 20,000 relative to the price action now, where we have $5,000 days. And this is going to seem really small compared to the next all-time high, basically, and especially the little jumps between like 37,000 and 45,000 or whatever. That's going to be so insignificant, so insignificant.
Right. Very crazy.
Yeah, and BTC is just heating up these days. I feel like, I mean, Elon Musk and Tesla, I had kind of talked about it a couple times before, about how I thought they might purchase, but it really did come out of nowhere for me, at least when they announced it. So it feels like these days it could pop at any time above 50,000 and so forth. I really don't see why 60,000 would be a specific you know, impediment. I think things are going to go very quickly upwards once we do start going upwards again in a true fashion, not just like a $10,000 impulse, but something beyond $20,000 at once, you know?
Right. Like it's gotten to the point where it's just, in my eyes, it's just a number. So I could look at it and it's $90,000, but it's like, okay, I'm getting a little bored of $90,000 now.
Right. Yeah. Just numbers in terms of like fiat currency don't really exist anymore. They're just non-existent, and um, you know, we have a certain amount of uh, Bitcoin, and we have a certain amount of fiat dollars, and as long as our Bitcoin far exceeds our fiat dollars in our eyes, we're okay. And truly, there's no amount of fiat dollars that could supersede the Bitcoin, at least right now, because the fiat dollars don't represent enough value. Period. You know, it's just there's no because of the depreciating factor. You know, there's no amount that could really make up for that part of the fiat amount that you would trade your Bitcoin for, you know?
Yeah.
And
Oh.
so I think that wraps it up for Satoshi Chats 13. Unless you've got
Yeah,
more.
solid episode.
Yeah. Just, all right. Subscribe, like, and give us a comment if you enjoyed the video. And see you guys
Yeah.
later.
Later, guys. Peace out.